So, good morning, good evening, good night to whoever might be watching this video. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So, there's not much to watch. It's pretty dark. It's like 3:30 in the morning, somewhere around there. And, the reason I'm awake is because, oh, is it already unlocked? Because what seemed like a fairly young girl came up here, and it was 1:30 in the morning, and I didn't even know. Oh, excuse me, that there was somebody so close to us. Oh, excuse me, pardon me. Until Bella was barking, and what is that? Oh, good Lord of mercy. I didn't know that there was somebody so close to us until Bella was barking, and even once she stopped barking, it's so beautiful. Look at how beautiful it is. It's gorgeous. I didn't even know, that somebody was like right next to us until, Bella was barking. Even when she stopped barking, she was growling, just mad growling, which tells me all I need to know about that person. I'm not making some kind of judgment call. My dog is. and I defer to her judgment because I trust her. Like, implicitly, I trust my dog. I trust everything. So, this person, like, there we go, that's better. But so this person is, like, so beautiful tonight. This young girl is, he just doesn't do well in the mood when I zoom in. It just looks like a ball of light. But, so this young girl is, walking up on us. And I'm like, I get out of my car and I say, can I help you? And she seems completely oblivious to the fact that, or maybe she didn't care. Or both, like whichever, whatever, or, all the above. I don't really care. It's all equally apathetic, zombie thought, or lack of thought. Unconscious, freaking, are you awake kind of behavior. Like, sometimes I just straight up want to ask people that. Sometimes I honestly want to ask people, like, are you, like, is there something wrong with you? Like, not in any kind of, like, jerk way. For real, though. I don't even, it's hard to even be nice about it, really, and not just be, I'm being honest is the thing. But, I really have to check myself sometimes because people are so zombie-like. They're so zoned out. They're so in their own head. They don't even consider how they might appear, be perceived, or be, bothering other people. Like, yeah, it's like they're not even thinking about it. So anyway, this person tells me, I said, how can I help you? And this person's like, oh yeah, I just want to climb the whatever she didn't even know what she came up here to climb. Like, which I also thought kind of was silly. It's like, what kind of silly person comes up here in the middle of the night, rolls up on a single woman with her dog? Like, there are a lot of people up here who would shoot at her car. Not shoot her, but shoot at her and scare her away without saying a word to her. Wouldn't talk to her at all. There's a lot of people that would do that. I don't understand where the malfunction in that person's brain is. you know, completely unconscious, she says to me, I just want to climb the silo. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's a water tower. But, second of all, it's 1:30 in the morning. I don't really care what you want to do. It's public land, sure. But, like, at the same time, you're being rude. Like, do you have any manners? What's going on? What's going on up top there? You lights on, nobody's home kind of thing? I didn't say that to her, but I was thinking it. And it's like, Bella's still barking in the car and woke her up too. And, it's like we're two beings up here, what the hell? So, anyhow, she finally got the message apparently because she left. But it's like, this completely self-absorbed way of thinking. I mean, this person's need to exhibit their false, independence at 1:30 in the morning, waking up other people, and just generally being like so in their head about what they want to do that they, it's to the exclusion of all else and everybody else. Like, you say basically, fuck you, I want to do what I want to do, and I don't really care. At one point, this person made a comment to me. She said, well, she stopped barking. She kind of stopped barking. And I'm like, kind of is not stopped. That's kind of. Like, are you kind of alive? Are you kind of conscious? I mean, I didn't say any of that, but I'm thinking it. And, like, still, like, an hour and a half later, I think it's been 2 hours now. I'm still laying there awake, like, listening to mantras and meditating, like, trying to get my energy back to where it was, get my frequency back to where it was, because I didn't expect someone to be intruding upon us at 1:30 in the morning, and it's just it's not really that particular incident. It's an overall resonance with all the people who are like that. They really have no thought and no care for other people. Really not at all. When it comes down to the wire, people only care about themselves. And that's the truth. They just don't even consider other people. They don't consider how they might seem. And I don't mean caring about how other people think about what they think or even what they're going to say about you. I don't mean like in a superficial way. I mean like in a way that really, am I coming off as loving right now? And am I coming off as kind and gentle? And even myself, criticizing this person's actions, not the person, but her actions. I had to check myself because I had to say, really, what is it about this person that what are they doing? What are they doing that, that I don't like, that reflects on, something that I may have done in my life, at one point or another. And it's like this person just wants to basically force her false independence on me and Bella because she literally just can't think of other people. It's a sense of entitlement. And I found it, the people who leave trash up here and do stupid shit like that, there's been hunters up here recently who have been killing the deer, like, brand new female deer, brand new, like young, newborn, not newborn, but young, very young female deer, the does. And, they leave the carcasses. They just leave them, on the side of the road. It's basically they just murder these animals. And I'm not against killing an animal for food, if that's what you need it for. But, for real, why you gotta, butcher it right there and leave it on the side of the road? And this sense of entitlement is something that I've looked at multiple times. And I have to tell you, for whoever's listening to this message, it's not about money. It's not about socioeconomic status. It's not about how much money you have, not have. It's a grounding. It's a rooting in God's word. It's a rooting in love. It's a rooting in love for oneself. And I don't mean like the selfish, narcissistic kind of way, or even psychopaths and sociopaths. It's not that kind of love for oneself. It's a love that is of the world. It's of the world. It's not in the world. It's of the world. And I just cannot. I cannot support it. Not at all. It's ugly. It's not godlike. It's fearful. And people will fight to protect that sense of entitlement, and they literally don't deserve it. I'm not even kidding. And it's not a judgment call on them personally. It's a judgment on their behavior and how they interact with the world, and especially other people. I mean, I really, question people's sanity when they'll say things like, well, she's kind of stopped barking. I'm like, what? What is kinda? Things are either they are or they aren't. And I don't mean going into like this black and white type of thinking where, you're only thinking, thoughts that are either one way or the other. It's just one way or the other, and it's not there's no shades of gray. There's no room for interpretation or anything like that. But we're living in a world where everybody's got this relative truth thing going on, and I'm just like, what? What does that even mean? I understand that certain things are true for certain people, but like, what? Really though? What? If you're living in relative truth, then what? Where's the ultimate truth in your life? Like, where is that? When does that come in? Where does that enter the stage and like become a part of your reality? Because people are seriously unconscious. I'm not even, like I said, it's not a judgment on them personally. It's a judgment on how they interact with the world. It's ridiculous behavior. It's disruptive. It's rude. And like that sense of entitlement, it's everywhere. It's like the people who leave their trash up here. They just think somebody else will pick it up. It's like, and all people of all ages will do that. Young, old, freaking Hispanic, white, black. They'll all do it. And they all have one thing in common. And it's that sense of entitlement. It's this ungodly sense of entitlement they have. And they genuinely believe that it's okay to act that way. Like they really think so. If they're thinking at all. Like they really believe that it's all right and acceptable to act that way. And then they expect to be like respected. And I'm like, like just hold on a minute though, because you don't deserve respect when you act like that. You don't. You literally counted yourself out of having any respect. I cannot. The fact that somebody would even come up here and think that that's all right for even a few seconds is beyond entitled. What the hell? And I see it amongst so many people, and like I said, of so many different, ways of life and ilk and, just creeds and colors and everything else. So it's really not about, people's socioeconomic status. It's not about... cigarette keeps going out. I tend not to smoke, especially at night like this, but anyhow, it's just it's really disheartening sometimes, and I know that to be discouraged is not of God, so I don't spend a lot of time there, but it just makes things so unpleasant, really though. And it's not just her. I'm talking about like this zombie society. I've been having dreams about, I've had dreams about vampires and zombies most of my life. Since I was a child, like long before I ever saw any vampire or zombie movies. And long before I was ever a fan of zombie or vampire movies, I understood these concepts very well. And I used to wonder why I used to have dreams about, which led me to dream interpretation, of course. But, I really, began to wonder why I was having these dreams. And, the truth of it was because I was always surrounded by people I couldn't trust. I couldn't trust my family growing up. They were not good to me. Even my own mother, she wasn't horribly outwardly abusive, and at the same time, she was a mess, just a mess. and for most of her life. And, it's sad because she was actually a very extraordinary person. And I mean, I've seen this sense of entitlement among the people in the churches that I attend in town. I've seen this entitlement attitude amongst people who don't attend a church at all. All kinds of people, from every corner of the earth, and across all the socioeconomic statuses that you could possibly have. And I'm telling you, like, there's something about it, that sense of entitlement, that just is poison. It's poisonous, man. I see people destroy their lives, destroy the lives of the people around them, destroy the lives of the people they try to love with that sense of entitlement. It's really ugly. It's super unattractive, and it's very unflattering to the human condition. It's humans are a hot mess most of the time anyway. So when you add a sense of entitlement into that, oh boy, like, it's just really, like, and this person, like, actually, and it's not just that person individually, but like that sense of entitlement will stand there, like this person did tonight, and be argumentative with you about the fact that they're entitled to do what they're doing. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? You really want to stand here and debate with me over whether you disturb my dog, disturb me, whether you're going to continue disturbing me? They left, so, there wasn't anything to argue about, of course. But, like, the fact that person even, like, stood there for 5 seconds and didn't once think about, oh, hey, I'm waking this person up. Oh, hey, I'm disturbing her dog. Oh, like, what? The fact that people will even stand there and try to argue their sense of entitlement with you is a whole nother level of unconscious thought and zombie-like behavior. Like, you don't even need to be on drugs or, drinking alcohol or whatever to be in this state of mind. Like, it's so... And that sense of entitlement is really what is making this world such an ugly place right now. When you walk around thinking that the world owes you something, you're going to get disappointed every time. And in that disappointment, you're going to act like that. It's and all types and kinds of other things that are just horribly ugly in this world. I mean, everything from human sacrifice to someone just cutting you off on the road and being rude, dangerous and rude on the road. It's like that. Like, people just really, they really don't have the forethought, the discernment. Oh, pardon me. Oh, I ate a bunch of roasted garlic earlier tonight. It makes me burp. Anyway, oh, pardon me. When people act like that, it's so, it's feeding the whole monster that, like, it's satanic. And I mean, for lack of a better word, it's demonic. It's all those things, when people are looking for, what is, wow, did you see that? There was a shooting star. Did you see that? This is what it is. I mean, that's what it is. It's this horrible sense of entitlement, thinking that the world owes you something, or that you're entitled to something that you haven't worked for. I've spent so much time working on myself. Oh, I wonder if that was the reflection on the phone. Anyhow, I have done so much work. And, for anyone, I remember there's some, this has to do with church. I was told by some people in the church, one of the churches I attend, that I can't be prophetic without a blessing from their priests. And I'm like, what? Did you tell God about that? Because I don't think he knows. I mean, this, and people will do it even with God. They'll be like, well, we're in the church, so, we own God, or we own prophecy, or we own, I mean, it's just like, what? And it's that same attitude of entitlement. Like, we're entitled to give the gift of God to whomever we want to. I'm like, wait a second. That's not how God works. Yeah, no, it doesn't, though. Yeah, I really I really have to start questioning people's sanity when they say things like that. Like, are you serious? And they are, is the thing. They in that moment, they really believe what they're saying. And there are some people who are so spiritually delusional. I mean, really. That it manifests itself emotionally, mentally, and I mean, you'll see it. You see it. You feel it off of them. My dog was growling at this young girl tonight. Like, outwardly, this young girl, nothing wrong with her. She sounded sober. She was in her right mind as far as, she wasn't like high on God knows what, and I'm just like, but I'm standing there and I'm talking to her and I'm just like, are you home? Because your lights are on, but yeah, I don't think anybody's home. And I'm not saying that to be critical or mean or nasty. I really genuinely am questioning, are you okay? Like, do you hear yourself right now? And 2 hours later, I'm still awake, thinking about it. And I'm like, all right, so I got to get up and talk about this, and it's not thinking about her or, what this particular incident tonight. It's more just where's your head at? What are you even talking about? How can you say what you're saying? And do you really think that? I mean, I cannot. I'm trying to, I'm just trying to sleep. Really though. People are just really unconscious, and I would just like to, you know, propose that, hey, maybe we shouldn't be so entitled. Maybe we should at least not act so entitled. And by maybe if we stop acting it that way, we'll stop being that way. Because sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, kind of thing, and give yourself that grace to actually feel that lack of entitlement rather than um, if you're not able to act on something right away, sometimes you have to pretend, and act in a fake way, until you really do understand. It's, that fake it till you make it thing is part of that is giving yourself enough grace to get through it, because it's not easy. There's nothing easy about it, and I understand that. But this person was this, these people in this world, they're complete. It's completely fake. It's a complete digression from reality. It's a completely different reality from where I live. That's for certain. And I really just, I'd like to propose that when we're acting entitled and things like that, I think that we get what we give. And when we act entitled like that, it feeds into this horrible cycle that we see our world in right now. And when people are that unconscious and that zombie-like, and they're willing to actually argue with you, however thinly veiled their contempt might be, it's still contempt. And when people will stand there and argue with you about what they're doing or not doing, when it's in your face, it's like, don't gaslight me. Yeah, I mean, really, or don't try anyway. Things like that. And it's not just this individual tonight. It's almost everybody I've come across for a very long time. And I mean, over a year. I mean, it's a long time it's a social desert out there, man. I cannot, I try to, relate to people, and I do in some way, but all of those people that I resonate with, they're all in my past. Not just the people, but those are my past selves. Those are older timelines that I'm not there anymore, and I'm not even close to being there. So, for me, it's a social desert, man, and I've been going through it for a long time, and man, it's not lonely, but wow, I begin to wonder if there's anyone out there, and let alone, to be friends with, let alone actually date and fall in love and, all that. Wow. And I think about the standards I used to have and the standards I have now, and I'm just thinking to myself, I may not ever find anyone. My mama used to tell me, honey, you don't need a man, you need a champion. And I'm like, oh my God. And, the thought of that, because it's not easy to date me, I'm hard on the people that I date. I'm hard on myself. And, that's just how that works. That's Venus over there. Yeah, that's Venus. But I really though. And so, when I come across people like that who will actually stand there and argue with me about, their sense of entitlement, it's just beyond. It's just beyond. I don't have any claim to this place up here. It's public land, but it is first come, first serve, and it's like I really don't. I'm not gonna stand here and argue with you. I would never roll up on somebody's house ever, or their campsite, or anything like that, and insist that I have the right to be there, and not only have the right to be there, but have the right to disturb them, annoy them, and basically harass them, like intentionally or unintentionally. It's still harassment. Just like, get out of here. What are you doing? So, as you go through your days, try to, it's just a suggestion, of course. But, try not to have that sense of entitlement. You do what you want, of course. That sense of entitlement really is part of the reason people are so messy. They're just sloppy. With their emotions, with their thoughts, and with their spirit, just very, energy, if you will. Same thing. It's a horrible spiritual sloppiness. It's ugly. It's perpetuating the very same bullshit that most people are complaining about and trying to fight, and yet they are part of the problem, not part of the solution. They don't even know how to be part of the solution, simply because they don't operate in God energy. They just don't. They don't say things out of kindness. They're not acting out of love. They're not trying to be gentle with their spirit. No, it's just, full throttle, pedal to the metal, all, and they'll impose themselves on you. And it's like, wait a second, I'm already sitting in the seat. Oh, well, I can sit on your lap. I'm like, yeah, no, you can't, though. It's like that. Hey, I'm eating my sandwich here. They're like, well, I can help you chew it. It's like, what are you doing? This kind of like overlapping, like, I can help you, like, or I can be there too, and all this copycat energy and doppelganger crap that's going on, Oh my God. I smoked too many cigarettes today. I have like at least 10 cigarettes. Gross. I feel it in my chest. I can hear it too. Gross. And, when people do things like that, and they really genuinely don't understand the power of authenticity. They just don't. And then also, people that want to mock God or mock Christ and say, this and that and the other thing, or that it's false, or that it's, whatever they do say about it, being critical, having that spirit of criticism in them, when they don't even understand what the hell they're talking about in the first place. They literally don't understand. So why are they speaking on something they don't even care about? And the only reason they're speaking on it is because it irritates their demons. Like, it irritates their spirit. And if something irritates your spirit, I suggest you look at that. What is it about that that's bothering you so much? Why? Some people have made careers out of criticizing Christ, criticizing religion and things like that. And I understand the religion part of it. But, as far as, God energy, the Most High God, what is there to criticize about that? He gave you the very breath that you have in your chest. He gave you the brain in your head with which you think bad thoughts against him in the first place. He holds the cells in your body together so that you can even perceive that there is a God at all, let alone criticize him. So, the audacity of some people. I just shake my head and I go, Lord, please give me the patience and strength to deal with these bullshit people. I just cannot. I really try. And I really do come at it from a humble standpoint. I really do come at it with love, a lot of love, probably more than people think I do. And a level of understanding too that is beyond compassionate in so many ways. And I understand much more than I think people give me credit for, and that's fine. It's always better to be underestimated than overestimated, in my humble opinion. However, when people are willing to just walk all over you, oh my God. Like, it really says more about them than it will ever say about you. But don't let them walk on you. I've been having an experience lately where I've put up with a whole lot more BS than I should have, simply because it made me and my dog's life easier. You know, because we're homeless, we're living in the car. It's not easy. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. There are things that I deal with and that I don't want to deal with. There are things, people were like, well, why don't you find housing then? I'm like, you know what? I don't even have an answer for you, because if you can't figure that out, and understand the complexity of the issue, that I didn't complicate it. It's not like I'm not complicating it. It's a complicated issue, and it's not something I'm personally adding my, human complexity to. No, this is what it is what it is. It's not something that I don't wish it to be that way. I don't want it to be that way. These rules were set up long before me, and I'm not in control of them. So when people, put it in such simplistic terms, it says a lot more about their brains and their inability to perceive what's actually happening, not only, with them, but in the world around them. It's a complete disconnect from reality. So, sure, go out and get housing, but, do you know how much people pay for rent in Santa Barbara? Do you have any idea how much people in that city right there are paying for rent, even for the crappiest little room in a house? It's like $1,200 in that city, and that's my hometown. I was born there. So for real, what the hell? I know one person who's paying, that room is probably the size of like a small storage unit. U-Haul, whatever, maybe 7 by 8. Not big at all. And yet that person pays $1,200 a month, and they just raised that person's rent. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Seriously? And they're actually considering moving out of their house to live in their car so that they can afford to stay living here. Yeah. And that's just the truth. So when people say to me, oh, well, go get housing. Yeah, no, I'm smart. I don't pay rent. That's a smart thing to do, not pay rent. It's not a stupid thing to do. It's smart. But in doing so, there's an imbalance of how I have to do things. So, we struggle a lot with a lot of different issues that most people never even think about. It doesn't never even crosses their mind. They are completely and utterly oblivious. Oh my God. To, the actual issues in the world that contribute to all of these things happening, let alone sustaining the problem, to cause a problem is one thing, but to sustain that problem is a whole different energy. Wow. And I've already gotten some comments on my YouTube channel, just weirdo, stupid stuff, probably assuming things because of my teeth or whatever it is. I'm not really certain, drug use and things like that. It's like, you know what? I spend a majority of my time, and have spent the majority of the time in my life sober. So what, it's usually a projection of other people's stuff. I had somebody today tell me that, I didn't need to be so angry, and I'm like, what? I'm not, though. And I wasn't even angry with that person in that moment. So what in the world? People will project all kinds of crap onto you, and they literally expect you to take it and to even carry the burden, which is preposterous. It's so ridiculous. I will not lend my energy to that. It's so nasty. So, and I just I keep my sense of entitlement in check. That's a given. To act that way, it's just, I'm fully aware of how horribly ugly it is. And not just aesthetically ugly. I don't care how beautiful you are. You act like that, you're instantly ugly. But, excuse me. But, spiritually, ugly. And, your heart mind is obviously unhealed and ugly. I just, I don't have a lot of patience for it, or a lot of tolerance. I have a lot of love to give that, but from afar, I'll love you from over here kind of thing. And it makes my life, my dog's life, more difficult, just because you wanted to come climb the silo. She kept calling it a silo at 1:30 in the morning, with no thought or compunction to pull right next to my comments. I don't know, like the lack of compassion is just, it's out of control. And I don't think that things are getting worse per se, because things have always been bad, and the same amount of evil that's always been here has always been here. It's always here. It's always been here. Things have always been as bad as they are right now. I know it doesn't seem that way. I know a lot of people would argue with me, but what I observe is a concentration of bullshit, and whatever you want to call it, evil. It's a concentrated evil, so to speak. Like it seems worse than it's ever been, because it's darker. It's not just that people are doing worse things, because people are doing the same shit that they've always done. They've always done it. It's always been here. And if you think there's anything new under the sun, you are sadly mistaken. But that sense of entitlement is really where that starts. Oh, that was definitely a shooting star. I saw that with my eyes. But that sense of entitlement, when we detach from reality, when we detach from other human beings, when we feel like there is separation between one another, between us and the world, it's the beginning of our downfall, really. And until you fix that, you are going to be delusional. You are going to be literally insane. And it's not a matter of my opinion. Those are definitive conditions that people have, that they carry with them, and they will literally stand there and argue with you that they are not insane, yet they will act like it. So that sense of entitlement, though, that's got to go. That's really got to go. It's not good for anyone. Not anyone at all. It's not good for anyone. It's horribly unattractive. It's unpleasant to experience. And at the very least, it's disruptive. And at the worst, it's horribly destructive. I mean, globally destructive. These people who create things like COVID and the vaccine and things like that. And then they turn around and tell us, oh, well, you shouldn't have gotten vaccinated. People will say shit like that to each other. And I just stand there and, once again, shaking my head, just like, wow. Y'all are on a different trip, for real. I cannot. I don't even know what to say to that sometimes. It just leaves me dumbfounded, which is hard to do. I'm a pretty talkative person, but when I'm speechless, that's something else. So anyway, wow. I hope everybody's having a good night, a good day, good morning, whatever time it is for you. I wish you all the love, excuse me, love, blessings, and compassion that you can possibly have in your life. And I really hope you're awake, because I know I'm not the only one. I see a lot of other people on YouTube, and I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in a very long time, decades. But at the same time, I don't like to feel like I'm alone. I don't think anybody really does. And, my sense of not aloneness comes mainly from God. My ancestors, my spirit guides, and, whatever, angels, whatever you want to call that. Not that I'm unsure about what it is. I just, I know that people have different names for it. Excuse me. So I'm going to go lay back down again and snuggle up with my dog. And not smoke. Ugh. And not smoke cigarettes. I just hope you're all having a blessed night. Definitively being blessed is being close to God. So I hope people are having a blessed night, because this is this solitude thing is great and all, but to be honest with you, I've grown weary of it. It's a lot of effort on my part to do all the work it takes to be in the car every day. It's exhausting, and throughout the summer it's even harder, because it's been 80-85 degrees up here during the day. So anyhow, I hope that y'all, excuse me, find joy in your day. That you find your way to God. There's really only way to do that. But I won't get into that now. And I hope you're blessed and abundant in all the ways that you need, and all the things and all the things and people that you want. I hope you have love in your life. I hope you have a safe, beautiful home, and I hope your loved ones are safe and secure, and just be abundant in all ways. All right, love, blessings, compassion to everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, because nobody else is gonna do it for us. Good night.